Going. Mark chapter 2. Mark chapter number 2. Good morning. Mark chapter number 2. And Mark chapter number 2, y'all, we're going to look at some trusted hands, Angela, because we have to be very careful and mindful whose hands we trust. Yeah, Mark chapter 2. This is the week of trusted hands. Mark chapter 2, y'all know it all so well. I dare not insult your intelligence. Mark chapter 2. sermonnotebook.org. Let me get there. Mark 2. Yeah. Jesus arrives. Jesus arrives. He arrives. He arrives. He arrives in the house. And guess what? There's a man that has been brought by 4 people whose hands he has to trust. And it's interesting, Angie. Mark chapter 2, everybody. I don't know if the men knew this man personally, but they had enough relationship with him to carry him. That's a good place for me to pull up right there. Our relationship might not be top notch, but at least if you see me in suffering and sadness, I pray that I can trust you to carry me. Daka, it's sad that we live in a world where folks cannot be trusted to carry us when they see us sad and sorrowful. Therefore, I must commit to trusting people, even though I might not have the best relationship with them, because life will life. And as life lives, I'm just trusting you to take me to Jesus. Mark chapter 2, everybody. Mark chapter 2. Mark chapter 2. When you get to Jesus by those individuals that you trust to get you there, number 1, make it your priority that you listen to his message. Jesus has a message for all of us. As a matter of fact, he said, in this life, you will have trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer because I've overcome the world. So I'm learning every day, Erica. I'm learning Antoinette, Daka, Ciante, and Rondi. I'm learning to listen to the message of God. I'm learning to listen to it. I'm listening to it. So Mark chapter 2. So let me just pause, Ciante, and say this. This morning, as I was doing my mindfulness activity, Rhonda, I couldn't get it right. I literally couldn't get it right. You say, Pastor, what is your mindfulness activity? My mindfulness activity is counting backwards. Now from 75 to 0. And Anna, I was having the most difficult time counting backwards from 75 to 0 without thinking of something else. I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. Without thinking of something else, it took me 3 or 4 tries to get from 75 to 0. So without my mind being flooded with something else. Can somebody be kind enough to put that in the chat? Something else. All of us have to deal with the something else's. That's why I need some trusted hands. My grandmama said, if it's not one thing, it's another. If it ain't ants, it's alligators. And I can't say what she said. But something else. Put that in the chat. Something, all of us, Anna, we've tried. But it was something else. It was something else. It was something else. And when the something else appears in my life, I need some trusted hands. When the diagnosis came, it was something else. When people got wayward, it was something else. When my back was against the wall, it was something else. When you trusted some hands only to find out that those hands you were trusting didn't deserve your trust, it was something else. All of us have something else. And I need to learn to navigate the space in life when I have to deal with my something else. Can somebody shout amen? It was just something else. So here these men have to bring this man, Mark chapter 2. I need y'all to read it. Read it. They bring this man to the place, and y'all know it, because he has to trust some hands. He had to trust some hands. And life will leave you. Life will leave you powerless. And Shannon, when I'm powerless, I do have to trust somebody else. And all of us can get to a point in place where trusting people is very difficult, because we've been deceived by so many people. We've been let down by so many people. We've been crushed and bruised by so many people. So, and even ourselves. So when you get to the place where you need somebody else's help, I'll say that again. When you get to the place, good morning, Kathy Beach, when you need somebody's help, when you get to the place where you need somebody's help, listen to the message. Jesus preaches. And then after he preaches, then it was demonstrated that they would see his power. His power was seen. His power. His message was preached and the miracle was performed. Ain't that good news? Somebody put in the chat, message preached, miracle performed, MP. So around there, you can get a quick little alliterated exhortation this morning. And here's the thing about this passage. It's one thing to carry you, then carry you up. But then it's another thing to be let down. And after the message was preached, the miracle was performed. Listen, y'all, to carry me is one thing. To carry me up is another thing. To carry me to carry me up, but to let me down requires skill. I'm about to say something, Angie, and you're going to have to help me. I need to decide who dropped me and who let me down. Y'all ain't going to shout this morning. Yeah. There were some folks who dropped me. But then there were some folks who let me down. Yes. And I'm grateful for the folks who learn to allow themselves to let me down easy so I could get to Jesus. Now, Angie, you know, as an athlete, and everybody who's on here that's athletic, you can gain as much strength doing the negative as you can doing the positive. Come on. There were some folks who had to operate in the negative. Let me down easy. That was a negative carry. And they were being strengthened by carrying me too. Trusted hands. They were being strengthened by carrying me up. Trusted hands. But they also got some strength by letting me down. Whew. Come on. They received strength by letting me down easy, because letting the man down, remember, the message was preached, the miracle was performed. They got strength, Stacy. And sometimes God was strengthening sometimes God strengthens us in the negative. Yes, he will strengthen us in the negative. Anybody grateful for your negatives? As a matter of fact, Kingdom, in the old school, photos had to be developed in the negative. You had to send off your negatives to the dark place, and then they would develop the photos. It's something about the negative. You gain a greater appreciation for folks when you're in the negative. That's it. Thank you for the negatives. Thank you for the hands that carried me to. Thank you for the hands that carried me up. But I also thank you for the hands that allowed me to be let down. Stacy Smith's put in the chat, Romans 8:28. That's negative, ain't it, Stacy? Thank you for the negative. Thank you for the negative. So, Rondell, the message was preached. The miracle was performed. And lastly, the man was no longer paralyzed. Shucks. God is about to correct what couldn't be corrected because some people took the time to deal with the negative. And God can deal with your negative. He was no longer, listen, he was no longer what he was when he got to the place where he could meet Jesus. Some facts about him didn't change, but he was no longer what he was. And I want to tell somebody today, when the message is preached and the miracle is performed and the man is no longer a paralytic, you might not can change your facts, but you can change who you are. And you can change who you are because God deals with your negatives. You can change it. You can change it. Good morning, Renetta. You can change who you are. He was let down, but he walked out. That's your shout right there, Rondell. His entrance was not his exit. And aren't you grateful, Ciante, that God can give you an exit that you didn't enter through? Stacy Smith said the message was preached, the miracle performed, the man was no longer a paralytic, therefore his transformation. Well, I'm off of here, y'all. Rondell, Renetta, Stacy, Kimberly Wilson, good morning. Brother George Perry got his wings. So Ephesians, look for some emails and some things. And let's give the family some privacy. That's what they asked for. It's Capri Cares, y'all. Message preached. Miracle performed. The man is no longer paralytic. Thank God for the negatives. And I thank God for the hands who let me down easy. It's Capri Cares. Know that I care. And what? Care that I know.